guys, it's Reagan and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. This reading vlog is very exciting because we are on book 3 of one of my most anticipated releases, releasing not only this year but also this month. February is one of the wildest release lineups for me personally in terms of books I'm super excited to read. Also really excited to say that this video is sponsored by Misfits Market, and I'm going to be showing not only a grocery haul, but I'm going to be eating and cooking a bunch of delicious food throughout this video. But let's go ahead and talk about my TBR for this video. Alrighty friends, so these are the two books that are on my TBR for this video. First I have The Ballad of Never After, which is a carryover from my last vlog. I am 120 pages into this book. This is book 2 to a very charming YA fantasy series that's very fairy tale-esque. I had a blast reading book 1. I'm already still loving book 2 with the amount I've read. I read these books so fast, and I was kind of craving a bit of like just a fun palate cleanser, but the star of the show for this vlog is going to be The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Katherine Arden. Katherine Arden is one of my favorite fantasy writers. She of course also wrote The Bird of the Nightingale, and she is back with another lyrical historical fantasy story, this time set during World War I, and I am not ready for it, but I'm also so excited to pick this book up and read it. I just cannot believe the books I'm reading back to back and how they're all coming out in February, but honestly, it's been a blast. So yes, these are the two books on my TBR for this video. I'm so pumped for both of them, and I'm really excited to show the experience of reading these as well. With that in mind, I think I'm gonna go make myself a cup of tea right now and actually read more of The Ballad of Never After. Again, my current read. I'm gonna try to obviously finish this before I move on to The Warm Hands of Ghosts, which is truthfully like the perfect carrot to keep my reading at an all-time high, because I'm not only liking this book, I wanna read that book desperately. So let's go make some tea. Let's also talk about the partner of this video a bit more, because I'm so excited to be working with them. Hi friends, so as I said, this video is sponsored by Misfits Market. And I couldn't be more jazzed to be working with them. If you're not familiar, Misfits Market is an online grocery store with aims to making high quality food not only more convenient by sending it directly to your door, but also more affordable. They're able to do this because they work directly with farmers and food growers to basically rescue food that might not be pretty enough to sell on like a standard grocery store vegetable or fruit aisle, if you will, which I personally think is so cool and absolutely cuts down on food waste. Not to mention, through Misfits Market, you can also shop a huge variety of other really fun products, from like pantry staples to just like tasty new things you want to try. They work as a weekly or bi-weekly grocery subscription service, and you can either curate and customize your basket for yourself, or they themselves can create and send you like their current best products sent directly to your door. Once you decide on your personal preference for delivery cadence, there's also a shopping window that you shop within, and you're also totally in control. You're able to skip or pause your subscription at any time. I personally grocery shop on a weekly basis, and as you can see with my own order here, I have a great variety of things, from fresh veggies to the protein I plan to cook with this week, to also some tasty snacks, coffee, and some treats I personally want to try. And I of course also snuck in some emergency boxes of mac and cheese, which I always need in my pantry. That is my personal pantry staple. Personally love shopping on here because I'm always really inspired by what's in season, and so seeing their products that they have available every week really helps to inspire me on what I actually want to cook for that week. They very much go hand in hand. Again, thank you so much to Misfits Market for sponsoring this video. I will of course have a link down to their site as well as an offer down below if you guys want to learn more. But let's make some tea and get to reading. I also need to start working on my chicken marinade for dinner tonight, which again is gonna be so delicious. The weather is beautiful, so I was inspired to use my sunrise tea mug. Tea is steeped, so now I'm gonna read more of The Ballad of Never After. Hi friends, I'm here with a reading update. I am almost 50% of the way through now of The Ballad of Never After, on page like 170 of this book, and it's just so fun to read. So this series is again a YA fantasy series that's very much written like a fairy tale. We're introduced to our main character, Evangeline Fox, who in book 1 has her heart broken, and she goes basically to the Prince of Broken Hearts, or the God of Broken Hearts, and basically asks him for help. She agrees to help him in exchange for 3 kisses of his choosing. In book 1, we're basically introduced to Evangeline. We're introduced to this world that has these sort of like godlike figures, but they're gods to like specific things, and they're capricious. They're human-like, but they are definitely different than humans. They also are immortal, which is an important aspect of this. Evangeline quickly gets her life turned upside down with this agreement she makes with the Prince of Hearts. Not only is she like all of a sudden sought after by a lot of men in this fantasy world, she's also brought up north for this competition to win the marriage of a prince, and this northern kingdom also has a long history with magic and prophecy and like hidden and destroyed magic, which she quickly gleans that she's here not just for this princely competition, but because the Prince of Broken Hearts, or Jax, has other things in mind, and he's hoping to enlist her to help him solve this sort of magical problem. Book 1 escalated in quite a fun way. It had both coming of age elements, it had Evangeline like confronting her own feelings, moving on, first love, like all of these concepts, learning who she can trust and who she cannot trust, and then obviously this very fun and complicated relationship with Jax, who again, the Prince of Broken Hearts. He very much gives Howl from Howl's Moving Castle vibes. Like, he's funny, he's charming, but he's dark and he has an edge to him, and he also has this sort of immortal quality, obviously, because he is a god. Book 2 starts off right where book 1 ended and is very much more like action forward out the gate, which makes sense. There is a central prophecy at play here, which very much fits into this fairy tale situation. There's also curses and just like things that feel very much ripped out of a story, and our main character, who loves stories, is like trying to just like get her life back to normal. She also is very aware of the complicated figure that is Jax in her life, which I like. I wasn't expecting that wrinkle, particularly in a YA story, but I appreciate that there is some contemplation that like there's some problematic elements here, you know what I mean? Like, he can be charming, I like him as a character, but that doesn't necessarily mean like he's good at his current self, but it also is like very nature of his being. There's other magical creatures that have been introduced in this book and world, which has also made this very, very fun. But basically, like, central mystery at play that needs to be solved, curses that need to be broken, love and storylines that need to be played out. Evangeline as our main character is just like so sweet and so brave, and I love rooting for her, and I just find the setting and everything about it to be really fun. It's a pretty straightforward book, like, don't get me wrong, this isn't going to blow your mind, but the elements of it just make it like very, very delightful. It's a YA book that's delightfully YA. I feel like it's really leaning into the genre of it, and I think it's just like really well done, and I'm just having a great time. I'm also reading it so fast, so I plan to read this more tonight, but for now I'm actually going to start working on dinner, and I think go sit outside because the weather is amazing. Hi friends, let's prep and make dinner together. I'm so excited for dinner tonight because it's quite literally the most perfect day outside. So Clay and I decided we are going to grill. I'm a grill goddess once again. So let's kind of go through the dinner plan together, shall we? So first and foremost, I have some chicken thighs, which again, we're gonna grill. And these have been marinating in a marinade I made earlier. And I'll have an overlay of it now, but this is just a Greek yogurt marinade with Greek yogurt. You guessed it, that I got from my Misfits Market box. The chicken is also from my box. I threw in some fresh parsley, some onion powder, cumin, paprika, salt, pepper, oregano, the lemons I got from my box, lemon juice, zest, the whole thing, and it's just been prepping itself to be delicious in here for the past couple of hours. To go alongside that, I'm going to roast some potatoes, and these potatoes I was able to get for a discount because they're just of mixed sizes. That, you know what, these cuties are gonna be a perfect crispy roasted potato if you ask me. Alongside that, I am going to grill up some zucchini, and I was able to get these at a discount because it was excess inventory. Again, saving and preventing food waste. Bell pepper too, and then also I'm gonna cut up a red onion to grill as well, and I think this is going to be quite the delicious dinner, if you ask me. So let's get to peeling and chopping and that whole bit. Vegetables are marinating away. Chicken is still marinating. I have my chopped up potatoes, which I'm going to boil and roast in the British style to make them as crispy as possible. And I do believe this is going to be a very tasty dinner. Potatoes have been roasting in the oven, and officially everything is prepped and ready to grill. Waiting for the grill to heat up over there and enjoying the lovely weather. And the grilling is complete. Everything looks delicious. I also made this Greek yogurt feta sauce with like lemon, Greek yogurt, and feta. And then my potatoes are so crispy. Look at them. Bon appetit. Yum. It's time for Clay's and I's favorite show. We're on season 2. Time for more reading. Hello, it's the next day. It is Saturday officially, and I skipped a day on this vlog, and I want to apologize in advance. I have chronic jaw issues, and I had a jaw appointment on Friday morning, and I got a procedure done, which ended up being like more painful than I was expecting, slash I just like wasn't fully, I don't know what I was thinking, but it also means I have to wear my daytime splint as much as possible. So I also apologize in advance. So I have a little bit of a lisp, or I have to wear a retainer for the remainder of this vlog, but we're back. I took a day off, I relaxed, and I'm feeling much better today. And I am about to actually go sit down now and read The Ballad of Never After. I still have about 200 pages of this book left to read. My reading also took a little bit of a back seat, but again, we're back on track. It's a beautiful Saturday. I think I might go for a walk as well. I mean, just look at this stunning weather. But before I sit down to read, I think I'm gonna make myself a latte and also get myself a snack, a soft snack as recommended by my doctor. But luckily I have some delicious options for myself. But yes, I'm excited to be back to reading. I'm excited to get my weekend, my day back on track. But let's make a latte right now. All right, we're gonna steam some milk for this latte. And I think I'm gonna have one of these. It's called Mush, but it's basically overnight oats, and I'm gonna have this peanut butter one. This should be nice. Oh yeah, nice and soft. I got this from my Misfits Market box. I'm so excited to try this. This sounds delicious and could not be more perfectly timed. I like how I bought this and I didn't even know, again, that I was gonna have impediment in eating. The universe was looking out for me, and so was Misfits Market. We aptly have the book mug, so let's brew. Latte made, let's go sit and read. Hi friends, I have just been sitting here reading The Ballad of Never After, and I officially have about 100 or so pages left, a little more, about 140 pages of this book left, and I just love this series so much. It's giving me like the same feeling I have when I'm watching Vampire Diaries. Like objectively, yes, maybe elements of the plot aren't like fully fleshed out. There's elements of even some of the back and forth and romantic qualities that are present in this book that are probably like a little, like I wouldn't recommend being in a romance like this, but reading it is just simply so entertaining and so cute. In book 2, again, we're following Evangeline, and she's working with Jax, the Prince of Hearts, and they're basically working to try to like solve this prophecy to save her, to save some other people that we're introduced to in book 1. But the whole thing with Evangeline and Jax in particular is that she doesn't necessarily trust him or her feelings for him. She doesn't know if she should treat him as a comrade, treat him as a friend. He's so clearly self-interested and self-involved as a god, and also just like his goal, his end goal as it relates to this prophecy. But at the same time, she can't help that she's like drawn to him. And this sort of setup just creates like such silly, giggle fueled fun scenes. You're like, ee, but you're also like, girl, no, like he's probably not good for her. But at the same time, we're like, it's just also fun to read, you know what I mean? And also the mystery is engaging enough where it has kept me flipping the pages, and in general it has allowed us to have some interesting world building where Stephanie Garber can kind of explain this Northern Kingdom and like other powerful individuals from the past, this family which had a lot of mystery around it, and magical artifacts that resulted from this family that have been lost through time. I just feel like this series has a really good balance of like a sweet main character who centers this book really, really well. A main character you like, a main character you root for, a main character that's like experiencing a lot of things for the first time, independence. She's like growing into herself, she's fighting for herself, and I really enjoy that. Two, there's really fun, like romantic back and forth within this book, and it's like not even a love triangle, it's like almost even more than that, and there's just so many fun like cute and like romantic scenes that also pull you into this book too. And then lastly, of course, there is like a fantastical, magical, mysterious plot that gives enough to kind of fully flesh out this book and experience. As I've said numerous times, it's not mind-blowing, but I'm just so entertained and I read this book so fast, and it has like so many like literary fairy tale-esque qualities to it, even in its writing style. I also like there's a like a gossip columnist within this series, so there's like newspaper clippings all of the time, which I also appreciate. It's just fun, and I also really enjoy the writing style, and I just think it's like really good YA. Like I'm just so endeared to everything that's happening within this book. I'm having a blast. Hello friends, hat is on, sun hat is on. I just got back from a nice walk and a hangout with a friend. We met at a nearby spot to just enjoy this incredible weather, because the weather is actually unreal today. But now retainer is in, and I think I'm gonna go sit outside and enjoy it even further and continue to read my book, The Ballad of Never After, and just get continually closer to finishing it, as that is the goal. Millie is ready to go outside. Let me show you. She is ready and waiting to go. And soon I'm gonna be sitting out on that chaise and enjoying the 75-degree weather that we're having in February, and trying not to think too many existential thoughts about the temperature. Relaxing with Matilda, enjoying this beautiful day. She is using the covered fire pit as her own personal chaise lounge, as she should, as she is allowed to. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen next in this book, so let's get to reading. Hi friends, let me take this off. It's not so sunny anymore. But I have about 60 pages of this book left, which I think means I've almost read, well, when I finish this book, I'll have read about 300 pages, and I'm having such a blast. The romance, the back and forth. I also love a drawn out sort of miscommunication. People are hiding, not wanting to accept their feelings, and I also still don't clearly know exactly the direction of where this book is going to go in terms of like the interpersonal relationships and the plot, which is great. I feel like there's lots of different reveals. I also appreciate that the author isn't afraid to shy away from the fact that like fates and the gods in this world are going to have follies, going to make mistakes, and they're also not necessarily as predictable as humans, which I like too. But I just love Jax and Evangeline so much. It's just like so good to read. I am hooked. I'm gonna finish this book tonight, absolutely no problem. But I think now I'm gonna go inside and watch Love is Blind. Okay, I lied. I actually stayed outside and I finished Once Upon a Broken Heart, and the ending was so good. The ending was explosive. I'm on the edge of my seat again. Both books in that series just absolutely captivated me, and the endings got me. I'm also having a nice soft snack of creamy Gouda, which is quite frankly delicious. Also got on my Misfits Market box this week, and perfect for someone who can't eat very hard foods right now. So cheers to that. But oh my god, Once Upon a Broken Heart, so good. I'm definitely gonna be reading book 3 soon. You know what's gonna happen next. She got me, her trope selection is truly 10 out of 10. But now I'm officially gonna turn on the TV and watch Love is Blind and make some mac and cheese here in a moment. Thank God I got some emergency mac and cheese, because it's an emergency. I can only eat mac and cheese. Yeah, it's so good. Oh, so good. Okay, well, I'm excited to start my second book of this vlog soon, The Warm Hands of Ghosts. But Stephanie Garber, You're so fun. Men in the season are truly trash, but this season has been incredible at the same time. Hi friends, it's time for dinner and we're breaking out an emergency box of mac and cheese. This is very exciting for me personally. As a boxed mac and cheese connoisseur, I've never tried either of these two Annie's products before. I have Annie's Deluxe, which is kind of like a Velveeta situation, and I also have an Annie's oven baked situation. I've been agonizing over which of these to make, but I think I'm gonna do the oven baked because it feels just like a little fancier. I'm gonna add some real cheese to this as well. You don't even pre-boil the pasta. I'm curious about how this is gonna go. It's gonna be great. So I dumped some milk into this. And now I'm gonna mix my seasoning in some hot water. Oops. And the cheese sauce, and then I'm also adding some of my own cheese. We're just gonna see how this goes. Mix. Oh, so exciting. So fundamentally American about what I'm doing right now. I'm also gonna add some additional seasonings. I'm gonna add some garlic powder, onion powder, a dash of smoked paprika. I'm so excited about this experiment. Okay. Smoked paprika. Normally, again, I'd use mustard powder, but just like a little dash of mustard, typically in like a homemade mac and cheese, is so good. So we're just gonna add it to this mac and cheese to add like a little extra flavor. So I'm gonna mix all this in. Okay, mix. So here it is after 15 minutes, and I'm gonna top with more cheese and the breadcrumb. Back in the oven it goes for 10 more minutes. And honestly, this is looking pretty delectable. And then for the ease, obviously, no complaints over here. And I'm gonna have the best night ever. Mac and cheese, reality TV, a new book, the greatest Saturday that ever lived. This looks so good. It was worth the extra effort. And this show is so good this season. Lay and I are now officially hanging out so we can actually watch the best show in the entire world. We're on season 2, so obviously we're gonna watch more. Hospital Playlist is both the best and worst thing that's ever happened to me. The pacing of a K-drama will destroy you. The give and take. Some of the romantic storylines, if you've seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. Dr. Lee, I am so unwell. I'm so unwell. I love that show so much, but it is now late Saturday night. I'm gonna start my second book of this vlog, see how far I can get, and then definitely spend a good amount of time reading tomorrow. This book is only just over 300 pages, so I really feel like I'll be able to get like a good amount of it done. But we love Catherine Arden in this house, and it's been so long, I feel like, since she's released a new book, so I'm so thrilled to be back just like to read her writing because it's just so lyrical and lush and beautiful, and I truly cannot wait. Good morning, everyone. It is another beautiful day, and it's a Sunday, and I think we are past, let me turn you around, and Clay and I are pretty certain we're past like freezing weather, so I think we're gonna go and spend the morning going to some plant nurseries and picking up some flowers for spring and plant them in our backyard and just add some color back there, and you know, should be beautiful. We love going to our plant nursery, so it's like, it's the little things in life, you know what I mean? Good morning, Matilda. I'm gonna sit there though and keep reading The Warm Hands of Ghosts, and I'll give y'all an update soon. Hi friends, let's do a reading update for what I've read of The Warm Hands of Ghosts so far, and it's not much. I have not read very much of this book, only about 40 pages. But I'm happy to report I am liking what I'm reading so far. The book basically follows our main character, Laura, and this book is set during World War I. And at the beginning of the story, we find Laura in Halifax in Canada, and she has just recently returned from the front working as a nurse in World War I. But she had an injury, so she was sent back home, and her home also has been kind of touched by the war in some unexpected ways. So she's dealing with settling back in. She's working as a nurse in this area, but you can very much tell that she's very much haunted by a lot of her experiences on the war front. Alongside of this, she also receives a very mysterious box from the war front from her brother Freddie, and she's concerned that something has happened to him. There's no note, there's no clarity about his status in the war as he's a soldier. And that's kind of like really all I've read so far. Also, alongside the sort of historical fiction setting, which is very somber, is this nod towards like mysticism. So during this time period, seances and those types of things increasingly became much more popular, which makes sense given, you know, the harrowing time period, the unknowns of what's happening in war and just not being able to contact loved ones. So there's like an element of like ghosts and mysticism kind of interweaving this sort of storyline. What calls out to me so far from the minimal amount of pages I have read is the writing style really draws you in, but it's also different than I was sort of expecting, but I think it's working. Bear and the Nightingale series by this author is very lyrical, very fairy tale-like, which again makes sense for that style of book and story. This book is written much more choppy, much more staccato. It's much darker and again somber in tone, but I think objectively for this style of book works quite well. You're sort of reading and following these characters, but like their thoughts sometimes aren't always complete, and a lot of times the reader sort of has to fill in the blank. It just feels like you're sort of on the edge of understanding, but not quite given the entire picture, which creates this sort of air of mystery and discomfort, which again matches the time period and also this sort of haunting quality of the book. Not only like the storyline setting will haunt you because it's so dark, but also the literal reality of the concepts of ghosts that are present within this book too. Again, I haven't read much. The chapters are also really, really short, which I appreciate, but I have felt that the narrative quality has drawn me in quite a bit, and I'm looking forward to reading more of this book. I feel like this book is going to be very emotional. I feel like I was expecting that, just knowing that this was a World War I story where a sister is trying to find her lost brother who was lost on the war front. But I'm still like, I just feel like this is going to be excellent. And so far, I'm really, really liking it so far. And those are my initial thoughts and feelings, but it's now time to go get dressed. Clay and I are gonna go get some plants, and we're really gonna kick off this Sunday morning, right? And then I'm gonna sit back also and do much, much more reading today as well. So let's get to it. Matilda's absolutely enjoying the sun, as she should, but let's go outside and do a plant haul of all of the stuff we picked up at the plant nursery. There's quite a bit, I'm not gonna lie. We went a little while, but it's just that time of year to plant everything, and we got really excited, and Clay is trying to get into growing vegetables, so, you know, a new hobby for all of us. So first and foremost, we have this planter box, which we got last summer, and we're filling it up. We have some peppers, like jalapeno peppers, bell peppers, and then also thyme, rosemary, and I'm not sure what that is, if I'm being honest. We picked up some bluebonnet seeds because it is Texas after all. We got some of these. I think they're called begonias. I have forgotten what they are called. And then we got some marigold flowers and just some other hardy Texas-oriented blooms that will do well in the heat and the sun and all of that. And we're going to fill all of our pots up with wonderful, incredible flowers. I'm about to sit down and do some reading, but Clay is outside potting plants, and he requested a fresh cup of coffee. So I'm gonna brew our new odds and ends blend, which I'm really excited about. That smells delicious. So I'm going to brew this. It's Sunday, so I feel like a late afternoon coffee. It does not count the same as during the week. I'm now gonna go grab my book, put a faux fireplace on, and get some reading in. Millie and I are just relaxing on this Sunday evening. I'm officially gonna sit down and do some more reading. Hello. I have read 2 page, oh, excuse me, Millie wants under the blankets. I have read to page 80 of The Warm Hands of Ghosts, and I'm really liking this book. It's written in a very specific way. Initially, I picked up this book late at night and I was like, maybe I'm just like too tired to understand what's going on. But then I realized, as I sort of mentioned earlier, no, it's just definitely written in kind of a quick and vague sort of way. It's both choppy and sometimes like very purposely unclear, but I like it. And now that I've read 80 pages, I feel much more settled into the narrative style and quality. Our main character is definitely Laura, and we're following her as a nurse who was sent home after an injury, but now deciding to travel back to the front to find her brother. The chapters are primarily following her and her story and the people that she sort of meets along the way. But we also get these chapters of her brother, who she is traveling to find. And he's in a very unexpected situation, and his chapters are very short, but so far some of my favorite to read just because of the sort of situation he's experiencing. The tone of this book is definitely very, very dark, but it's so far beautifully done and beautifully written. Laura and Freddie are siblings, and you can immediately sense like the love and devotion they have for each other, which I also really appreciate. But I'm gonna go cook dinner now, but I have officially read. I'm gonna read more tonight after I watch Hospital Playlist, of course. But let's go talk about what's on the menu for dinner. So on the dinner tonight, we are making pasta, but I'm going to add some additional vegetables. So obviously I have a zucchini from my box. I also have my broccolini from my box, which I'm going to use some of that. And I think I'm gonna make a vodka sauce. I have an onion, Parmesan. Roasted broccolini is done. I'm just gonna top this with some parm. Then my vodka sauce is almost ready to be made into vodka sauce. I'm just cooking down my tomato paste. And I'm also sauteing some zucchini to mix in. I already crisped up some pancetta. It's obviously not a traditional vodka sauce, but it should be tasty. And dinner is done. Everyone in this room is asleep. Look at this. Look at this. We just finished episode 2 of season 2 of Hospital Playlist. It was divine. It was perfect. It was everything I could have ever wanted and more. Good morning, friends. I'm up and at 'em with a cup of coffee. And the emergency, not so exciting construction is underway. Hence why the end of this vlog is a little chaotic, because it's kind of noisy in here. But let me set you down really fast. And let me move this. But I have read to page 150 of The Warm Hands of Ghosts, and I'm liking it so much. It's such an interesting combination of, yes, a very emotional World War I story, which is clearly influenced by the true realities of the war front, trench warfare, and it's also set near the end of the war. So lots of the approaches to warfare have really progressed to maybe the peak of the horror of the situation. Not to mention our main character was a nurse working on the front for years and is now returning to the front. So she herself has seen and done a lot of things as well. But in combination with this, there's this sort of like supernatural element, like folklore element, which makes so much sense knowing Catherine Arden is our author, and seeing how she's basically pulling on the history of not only local superstitions of the areas where these battles are taking place in, but also like soldier superstitions, and using that to kind of create a fantastical mystery discomfort as part of the story is working so well. And again, I am loving the fact that we're able to read from two characters, Laura and her brother Freddie. Freddie's chapters still remain to be my favorite. They're again short, but just like the amount that they have within them, it's just so good. They're also taking place on 2 different timelines, like 2 different time periods. So I'm imagining they're gonna come together, and I'm just like not prepared for it. But I just feel like this is so far like a really well done book that's combining elements of historical fiction, history, with just like the perfect mixture of fantasy, and I'm liking it so much. So I have my coffee. I'm gonna read more now before construction begins again on my floor. The only plus side is I didn't like the black tile anyway, so it all having to be ripped up outside of my control to fix something that was underneath it. Various things wrong that were underneath it that were very urgent. At least I don't have to have the tile anymore. But I want to mention this wasn't me just trying to update the cosmetics of this area. Oh no, no, no. And welcome to the end of the vlog. The next day, I'm just popping in to wrap up everything I was able to read over the course of this vlog. I apologize for getting a little choppy at the end, but I'm also happy to report I did finish The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden, and I really enjoyed this book. Catherine Arden has such a way with taking real and significant historical events, focusing, like zooming in on it and providing us such a heartbreaking, like human experience with her signature beautiful writing style, and also injecting just like elements of magic which don't take away from any of the actual historical reality, but just provide like an additional layer. And I think that is especially successful within this book. This book almost entirely takes place on the front of a war, and we're reading from Laura and her brother Freddie, their own individual experiences with it, the impact that the war has had on them as individuals, the lasting effects of the war that it's going to have on them as individuals, and also, you know, following a journey of characters allowing themselves to possibly have second chances despite how difficult that decision might be to make. There's, you know, familial love, there's romantic love, there's all different types of things, all explored again on this front. And this concept of haunting and ghosts is so central to this, in a literal sense, but also in a figurative sense, an emotional sense. It was harrowing and beautifully done with a lot of empathy and care. And honestly, I really enjoyed it. It's not a long book, but it really pulls you in. I think initially it sort of has this lack of clarity, but I feel like that progressively gets sharper as you read the book and begin to sort of connect the dots of what's happening. I just really enjoyed the sibling relationship at the heart of this, but also all of the side characters too. It was very, very excellent. So I did complete this. And then the second book I was able to complete is The Ballad of Never After. I had 300 pages left of this book. I loved every single second of it. There's something so endearing and charming about this YA fantasy series that I'm just like totally pulled in by. The endings of book 1 and 2 have also been entirely so explosive. I love Evangeline, I love Jax. I want to read the third book right away. They're just so cute, but also they draw me in with the plot too. Like a lot of stuff is happening. It's very fast paced as well, but it still kind of has this like lighthearted quality to it, which I just appreciate oh so much. And I've just been having such a good time with this series. But that is everything I was able to read over the course of this vlog. I think I completed over 600 pages, which is not bad, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and big shout out again to this video's sponsor, which is Misfits Market. I will see you guys soon with another video soon. Goodbye.